Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Mass Retirees Weekly Update. I'm Sean Duhamel. Today's Friday, October 22nd. Believe it or not, we have one more week of October. If you're up here in New England, the weather has been absolutely spectacular. I know we're going to hear from our members who are living in Florida or other parts of the country later this year when we're getting a blizzard up here. I know some of you just relished the opportunity to call back home and rub it in and ask how many feet of snow we shoveled on any given morning. But for now, it's absolutely stunning weather. In fact, here in Boston, a lot of the leaves are still green, which is a bit unusual. What else is unusual is our format this week. As you can tell, I'm not alone today on this video update for all of you. I am joined by our association's general counsel, my friend and colleague, Bill Reary, who is also the editor-in-chief of our award-winning newsletter, The Voice of the Retired Public Employee. Bill puts his heart, blood, sweat, soul into producing 6 bi-monthly editions of The Voice every single year. Bill, I added up, this is my 27th year with the association. So earlier today, I did the math on how many newsletters that I've been involved in producing, and it's well over 100 at this point. And I'm not even going to do the math for you, but
thank you.
our archives here in the association office, we go all the way back to 1968 in terms of the work we've been doing and the association that Ralph White put together and all of the early materials that he produced. We still have much of that here in the office, which is a tremendous resource for us. But we have a binder of newsletters going all the way back to early 1973. I was 3 years old when these were produced, but there's a wealth of information. But
I was a little bit older.
Yeah, a little bit. That's before you joined too. But the reason why we're doing this today, first of all, it's something a little bit different. I hope you enjoy the format, and I want to do more of this with members of our team here to give them the opportunity and to speak directly to you and just give you a little bit of an inside look at the work we do on your behalf and what goes into it, particularly with the newsletter. And this is the November 2021 edition of The Voice. It is in the mail today, on the way to you. I know it's the proverbial check is in the mail, but this newsletter is in the mail to you right now. It will be arriving in your mailbox maybe as early as today. But it is, again, just chock full of really important information about your pension and your health insurance and Social Security. And we put a lot of work into producing this. So I thought it would be nice to, first of all, give a little bit of a sneak peek into what's in the November edition, because this is a really important edition for us. And we'll talk about why that is in just a moment. But I also wanted to give Bill the opportunity to talk a little bit about the work that goes into this and some of the outside folks that we work with in putting this together. Because it really truly is a labor of love. And I hope you enjoy reading it. And I hope you look forward to seeing it every other month. Because again, we put a lot of work into doing this. But with that, Bill, first of all, what's in the November issue? I know we kick off here on the front page, headline news about the COLA. Just give a little bit of a taste of what members can expect in the November edition.
Yeah. And maybe too, Sean, maybe I could just let our listeners know that the process that we go through in terms of putting this together.
Yep.
In fact, while we're talking right now about the November bulletin, we're already at work on the next bulletin, which will be January, believe it or not, January 2020, which will be out, mid-December. But yeah, we're already working on that. We got some stories already in the box for that issue. But again, Sean mentioned, what do we have? What to give a sneak preview to what's in the November bulletin. But our listeners may remember that our viewers, I guess, I always forget that, Sean, at this point, where I'm on video here, not just
for better or worse, we're on video, yes.
Not just Teletown Hall. I mean, our viewers, you received your September bulletin the other month, and actually 2 months now, back to August. And the big issue that we talked about in that particular September bulletin was the success that our retirement systems have achieved in their earnings. Their investment returns have been double digit. And now, as a springboard off of that, using that as a springboard, we're now in the November bulletin saying, okay, there's been a lot of success. We also think that that should be shared. That success should be shared with our members. And what our focus right now in November will be the COLA and improving upon the COLA. That, as you got to look at from Sean holding up the November bulletin, it starts just with that fact, strengthening the COLA law. And so there's a lot in the bulletin that deals with the COLA. And one of the important centerpieces to this is, okay, we think that the time is now to improve upon the COLA. And that can be done. And it can be done because we got to look at that success. And you know, it's one thing to just say success, but in this bulletin, as you know, Sean, we spent quite a bit of time detailing what that success was. Mm-hmm. And there's a number of pages that just deal with the data behind what the retirement boards have in terms of where they're at this particular time. And that not only includes, you know, what their current COLA base is, but also, you know, their funding levels, what their assumed rate of return is. We cover all of this in this bulletin. Why? Because, like I say, we got to prove that there is a way to pay for a better COLA. But, you know, that's the major issue in this particular issue. But there's other issues, as we always try to do. We try to keep our members informed. We try to educate them, not only in terms of pension issues like the COLA, but also in terms of healthcare issues. And as Sean, as he held up that copy of the November Voice showed, there's 7 stories, at least 7 articles in the November Bulletin that deal with healthcare, be it, you know, with the GIC, its enrollment numbers right now in the GIC dental plan, which now exceeds 40,000 enrollees. And also, you know, we talk about the GIC in terms of what will we be seeing going down the road to the end of this year into next year. So it's just not the GIC, it's also local insurance, local health insurance that we deal with. And that's because it's important for us. If we want you to be engaged, if we want you to be active, we need to give you the information you need. And that's what we really see the Voice as a source, a very primary source of information to our members, so that when we call you to action, you can in fact do what we require of you and feel comfortable doing it. I would only point out in terms, Sean, real quick, in terms of the current issue, this November issue of the Voice, we do also focus in on what I think is a very important issue, and I think it's an important issue for everyone out there, is the high costs of prescription drugs. Mm-hmm. And there's a full-length article in connection with the rising costs of prescription drugs. And the fact that, for example, for the state alone, they've seen, the GIC has seen a 43% increase in the costs of prescription drugs since 2010. So, you know, and so it's not only just talking about the increased costs, which we're all aware of when we walk into the pharmacy, but it also talks about what's causing these increases, you know, the issue of specialty drugs, and more importantly, what's being done about it. Mm-hmm. So, like I said earlier, the major focus of this November Bulletin was the COLA. But obviously, as we always try to do, we try to cover a number of important issues that impact our members. And now, Sean talked about I talked about the process. I mean, again, you don't like to watch the process of sausage being made, you know. So in this regard, I won't get into too much detail. But the bottom line is, it's just not me. It's just not Sean. There's a team here in the office that's involved in this process. And without them, it wouldn't get done. And not only that, we have other resources outside the office itself, outside of our staff, that helps develop the bulletin. That includes Chameleon Design. They've been a great bunch of guys. They've been with us for a number of years, and they do outstanding work in terms of laying out the bulletin, the design of the bulletin. And also, more importantly, we were just talking about mailing it out, delivering it. We depend heavily upon a New Bedford business, a union business known as Standard Modern. They help get it out to you. They print it up and they mail it out. And the reason I feel it's important to mention both Chameleon Design and Standard Modern, and Sean knows this, listen, when we call, they get back to us. They're always there for us, really, 24/7, believe me, especially when we're down to crunch time in terms of getting this out to you people. So that's in a nutshell is what we're doing here in terms of the bulletin. I won't do a sneak preview in terms of the January bulletin. That's still in the works.
We're always thinking ahead, and if you read today's email message from me, I mentioned that inevitably, and I have to take the blame for this, that we get close to press time, and it's unavoidable sometimes, but there's always some last minute change. And I'm always going to bill, sometimes literally hours before it's supposed to be sent to Standard Modern to be printed up, saying, hey, we have this additional bit of information that we have to let our members know about. This is really important. And then it's Bill's job to try to figure out how to undo the jigsaw puzzle that he and Chameleon have put together of how you put all of this information into a 20-page document, have it look good, very good, and have it be in a format that's easy for all of you to read and follow along. And inevitably I come in and I blow something up, and then these guys have to go back and work their magic. Now, the silver lining to all of that is most often, whatever it is that we've had to take out of the newsletter to make room for something, hopefully that carries over to the next edition. And I know for January, for instance, we already have a handful of articles that we would have loved to have published in November. We just simply didn't have the room for it. Now, from time to time, we toy with the idea of adding pages to this, but once you add a page, it's not just one page you're adding, it's actually 4 pages of additional content, which is additional cost. And we're going to keep it at 20 pages for the foreseeable future. But that's where some of the digital tools like videos and email and our website and our Facebook page, we use those as a supplement, first of all, to make sure we're getting you information every single week. It's important that you know what's going on, that you don't have any surprises that suddenly pop up, because let's face it, as a retiree, your whole life depends on your pension and your health insurance and your Social Security and whatever savings you might have. Those are all extremely important to retirees. And we try to focus on the things that no one else is working on, or very few other people are working on. That's why in the newsletter, for instance, you're not going to see general articles that you may read elsewhere about what to think about when you go and talk to your doctor, or, retirement destinations for retiree vacations and those sorts of things. The other thing you're not going to ever see in the newsletter is advertising. Ralph White held fast to that creed that we're not putting advertising in the newsletter. We do get asked quite frequently from private companies and people trying to sell things to retirees to advertise one product or service or another. Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know you and I are on the same page of feeling very strongly about this, that one of the great aspects of our newsletter is that it's pure. We don't cheapen it in any way by adding advertising to it. There are other ways for us to let you know about discounts and different services that we're offering, and we're all for that. But when it comes to the newsletter, we have to keep the focus on the news and the information and the engagement with you, and not trying to sell you something. We're not here to sell you anything. We're here to advocate and to serve you. At the end of the day, this is what this comes down to. The other big piece of information that's in the newsletter, of course, right on page 3, very important, is a full update for all of you about the Social Security windfall elimination and our work on your behalf to try to reform that law and bring relief to all of you who are struggling and are victimized by the WEP this year. If you've been following this channel and my weekly updates, that progress is slower than any of us would like to see. But we have to keep the pressure on. And I know just over the past couple of weeks, the number of you have reached out to your local member of Congress to once again remind them of just how important this issue is. So look to page 3 of the newsletter. We have a full report for everybody. And the last thing I want to leave you with is, after reading the newsletter, or after you receive one of these weekly updates, if you have a question about something, or something just doesn't seem quite right, or you have a complaint, reach out to me, reach out to Frank Valeri or Bill or Nancy McGovern or Cheryl Stillman. And we're here for you. We're here to serve you. We're here to answer your questions. So if you see something in the newsletter after you read it, you want some further information, or you want to talk about it, give us a shout. If you can't reach us in the office, you have our personal home contact information on the back of your membership card. So just reach out. It's really as simple as that. So with that, Bill, before we sign off today, anything further you'd like to add?
The only thing I would add, Sean, is that we in the office here take a great deal of pride in trying to get the best product out to you as possible. So if you see any way that we can improve upon it, just give us a ring, send us an email, give us a call, and we're more than glad to talk to you about that. But I hope you enjoyed your November bulletin. And with that, Sean, I would say I got to get back to work on the January bulletin.
Yeah. Same here. Bill, thank you for taking the time with me today. And as I said at the outset, we want to do more, these sort of conversational pieces, rather than just me talking to the camera every week of bringing you that whatever the weekly news is. So with that, I'm going to sign off for today, but I hope you tune in again next week for next week's update. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.